Welcome in, welcome in. It's good to be in the space again. Everybody, welcome in and become comfortable. Kick your shoes off. Knowing we're coming into the space to learn and to grow and to take in something that may resonate with you in your spiritual growth. And maybe sometimes it's just a concept, sometimes it's just a word that shifts you, right? Because we're about the shift and aligning with the shift. And alignment's a huge word. Maybe I should go back, and I know I did it a long time ago. My take now would even be different than then. That's how much we keep growing. Videos maybe I made 2 and 3 years ago would be not obsolete, but I would have another chapter or more to add to it than I did then. If that makes sense to you, which I know it does if you're one to grow. There's always aspects of change. Somebody a good friend of mine that I did a video with here one time named James, which you've seen a video on him months ago, always said that why does it seem like always pain accompanies growth? And it is. I mean, I even was looking at this all through my time, but you plant a seed in the ground and that seed breaks, right? And it starts to sprout. It has to break through the earth, just like a child has to come through a womb. And we always magnify the position of the woman, which goes through hard labor and travailing, right? We look at that. But here's another thing. What's the child go through coming into this portal, being pressed through a portal that's very small, through a pushing through? It's not just boom, 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 I'm here. And some people have easy pregnancies. I definitely heard that. But this is maybe hitting their head in places and getting bruised or oblonged, or this stuff has happened, or a wrapping of the umbilical cord around the neck is cutting off the air supply, and the traumas that would come through that, and the hardness for the baby coming through here to get to the space for the portal, and then has to have a spanking to breathe. Painful. So there's some definitely trauma for even being birthed besides the mother giving birth, right? But the joy comes through what? The birth comes through the newness, the new one that came through. Always pain associated with growth. And James had said that. But I got an interesting somebody we're going to look at today that I only discovered not long ago. So if you guys know about her, I never knew about her. And just recently, a month or two ago, closer to 2 months, had heard Archaics, who I still haven't put a video on him. Very, really awesome guy. Great teachings. Balanced, and definitely another aspect of this to look through the lens that he brings. Being a chronologist, right? With history and bringing forth books that were written 20 and 30 and 20, 30, 100, 200 years ago by scientists and other people about actually history that was happening and about events that are happening. But anyways, and her name is, she's called Mother Shipton. Anybody ever heard of her? Mother Shipton. I hadn't. So we're going to do a video on her. So I'm actually learning with you about her. I know she definitely had some prophecies that came to pass that she had brought forth. She was a psychic, would prophesy, and had all these clairvoyant gifts, telepathic going on, and she would speak them and write them down and put them out. And it even talking about leaders in other countries not fulfilling what they said they were going to do, and they would fall, and then a bunch of it happened. If you have heard of Mother Shipton, great. And if you haven't, let's kind of see who Mother Shipton is. I know there's even some books about her. And really, I heard about her for the first time through Archaics. So Mother Shipton, let's go over to Wikipedia first. Mother Shipton, Ursula Sothwell, it says, Southell, was variously spelled as Sothel, and on here. Properly known as Mother Shipton was an English soothsayer, prophetess according to English folklore. She has sometimes been described as a witch and is associated with folklore involving the origin of the rollright. Let's see what the rollright is. The Rolling Stones are a complex of 3 Neolithic, Bronze Age, megalithic, monuments near the village of Longcompton of the borders of Oxfordshire and Warwickshire, constructed from the local Oletic limestone. 3 monuments known as the King's Men and the Whispering something. There looks to be more here, but very interesting. King and men were said to have transformed that to stone after failing her test, as reported by William Camden in a rhyming account in 1610. Let me go down a little bit farther. Interesting. I read some of it. I don't know way more than you guys. I just heard, and I just wanted to deep dive on her. And I have read a little bit about it. Some of the stuff I'm learning with you. Prophecies published in 1684. It gave her birthplace as Knaresborough, looks like Knaresborough, Yorkshire, in a cave now known as Mother Shipton's Cave. Okay. The book reputed Shipton to be hideous, ugly, and when she was married to Toby Shipton, a local carpenter in New York in 1520, and told fortunes and made predictions throughout her life. When I seen her makeup, I said, is she a nun? Mother Shipton was born, and we mentioned that, into 15-year-old Agatha Sutel, allegedly cave outside of which we just read. Sources state Shipton was born during the violent thunderstorm and was deformed and ugly. Born with a hunchback and balding eyes. So it states that Shipton cackled instead of crying. Having been born, she did so. Previously, raging storm ceased. Interesting. She has, this is given her all her life. I want to go to her adulthood, and then I got another writing about her. But she had these prophecies that I know of. That I'm trying to find if they're here. Here they go. The prophecies. I don't know if this is the prophecies in the system. Which one? If I needed to hit this. Neutral section is disputed. Okay, this is some stuff. They're talking about her. Okay, let's talk about some of this. The most famous claimed edition of Mother Shipton, this is prophecy of the end times, was foretells of many modern events and phenomena, widely quoted today as it were the original. It contains over 100 prophetic rhymed couplets, but the language is notably non-16th century. Includes the most famous lines: "The world to end shall come in 1801." Version was not published till 1862, so that definitely couldn't be true. There's a lot here with some of her prophecies. Let's go over here because I want to get to her prophecies. They're telling us her whole life story. Here we go. She foretold the fates of several rulers within and just after her lifetime, as well as the invention of iron ships. Interesting. The Great Fire of London in 1666, and I guess she prophesied of the defeat of the Spanish Armada. And she has the cave. Looks like it's a cave. What was she accused of? Of course, Archbishop accused her of witchcraft, as Mother Shipton prophesied. Despite being an Archbishop of New York, he would never actually set foot in New York itself, as was her prophecy, and that he would fail. That's interesting. Let's see, end of the story. Let's see, some of her, we read that already about that. Let's see about this cave. Interesting. So she predicted, I guess, Black Death, the plague, and also the London fire in her prophecies. Let's go here so you can get more updated on some of the prophecies she made. Mother Shipton and her prophecies. I don't want to know the history, really. I want to know her prophecies. We don't. Okay, we went through that. Prophecies. I'm trying to find the prophecies aspect instead of all this history. Um, while her mysticism proved unnerving for some in such a high case, such as predicting Cardinal Wolsey's fate or the ensuing dissolution of the monasteries of Henry VIII, her status and fame reached dazzling new heights, because those things did happen. Despite her recent popularity, she remained an elusive figure that continued to mystify and intrigue those who came in contact with her. At the age of 73, she died, but the memory of her unusual life continued. I want more of her prophecies. Oh, here in 1641, one of the earliest surviving records of her prediction, she foresees Thomas Wolsey's fate at the time of his demise, after he had fallen out of favor after failing to secure the amulet of Henry VIII's marriage to Catherine Aragon on a journey between London and York. He died from natural causes, a point Mother Shipton had made when she claimed that Wolsey would never reach his destination. Okay. And this is what I heard, that she had a lot of prophecies that did happen. And she has some books with more. And I went through this. This would be interesting, more deep dive on her. And I was wanting to get, because I heard some really interesting stuff about her. Let me see, prophecies. I'm looking for more of those prophecies about the demise and people not making it to where they said they would. One of her prophecies is Wolsey's mitred peacock's lofty cry right here. She shall be a guy. The description alludes Wolsey's lower class background, the son of a butcher, where he rose to become a chief advisor to King Henry and guide his policy making. Okay. Let's see something else here. Such prophecies increased her public. Let's see, so maybe Mother Shipton's prophecies included the destruction of Trinity Church, which would fall in the night, till the highest stone in the church would be the lowest stone of the bridge. Long after her statement, a terrible storm fell upon Yorkshire, destroying the steeple of the church and causing it to land upon the bridge. Wow, that's heavy. Now, when I see stuff like this, I was like, oh, she's operating heavily. And I've heard a lot of good stuff about her, some of her prophecies, how they came to, actually, a lot of it was against the parliament and the governments at that time in Europe and their kingships, that she was actually producing this and pushing and saying these things would happen to them. Shout out to her. Yeah, I'm glad I found some of this. Claim did not make much, however, when the water system was introduced, let's go down. Let me see. The prediction not initially didn't resonate till the town's residents involved a prophecy that the water would come over Oss Bridge and reach a windmill that would be set on a tower. The claim did not make much sense at first, however, when the water system was introduced, bringing the water across the bridge and pipes reached the windmill, and prophecy did not seem so cryptic. Wow. So she was getting specific of things that would happen and be destroyed and fall. See if we can find another one. A month after her marriage, Ursula helped out a neighbor who had some items of clothing stolen from her home. The following day, a woman went walking through the town singing, "I stole my neighbor's smock and coat. I'm a thief," before handing it over to Shipton and leaving with courtesy. Wow. So she discerned that this woman was stealing the clothing, and she went into the city singing a song about about a thief stealing these things, and then the woman came and gave it to her and left. Wow. So she definitely was empowered, and she didn't call her out specifically or attack her. She just said it within the city, and then the woman came forth like, "Here, I did it. Here it is." Let's see, let's read down a little thing. Such takes would only add to the mystery and intrigue surrounding Ursula. However, her life would be beset by personal tragedy, leading to her estrangement from the community once again. Only 2 years after marrying Tobias Shipton passed away, leaving her to become a social outcast once more, to be cast aspersions as the circumstances of death. She would become into her own, continuing the practice of creating herbal remedies and dabbling in odd premonitions, which to us aren't odd. She was having premonitions. Okay. Let's see, I thought. Oh, that's her birth. Saying she was not very good looking, or, the claims she was hunchbacked and not the best looking person. But yeah, this is very interesting about her. And there's more about her prophecies. I want to look into more of her prophecies. How many people have heard of her? And if you have and you have more, share it in the comments. I would like to learn more myself. Like I said, just a few months ago, I heard somebody speak on Mother Shipton. And when they did, it was like, I never heard of her. And they were talking about the prophecies in a book, and that was Archaics. I was watching Archaics video. And I would like to know more about some of her prophecies, because some of them were specifically connected to the king and his parliament, within the cities, the windmills, the children, and actually having the premonition of people stealing, and then by just putting it in the community that somebody stole and somebody's here, the person who stole came and gave it back. That's I find that very interesting. And when I talk about stuff like this is kind of some of the stuff that's even happened in different ages and different places and different, we have these abilities are stored within us. While they go around telling us we have junk DNA, I'm telling you that's not junk DNA. That's just a sleepy DNA. It needs to be woken up to your higher self of being very intrinsic, like the word of the day of the last video we had. And if you're being intrinsic, it's going to activate your frequencies and vibrations in your different aspects of yourself, your very superhuman godlike aspects. Connecting to your human aspect is kind of like that demigod, right? And at times I flow with it now. I used to, because I'm going to be honest, if you look up the word God, it actually means German king in etymology, and German chief. It's specifically for the German culture, not specific. It's not like the all or source. It's specifically because all these sources, all these in the past, when we start looking at what we've been programmed to believe, that Abrahamic religions are the truth, and when we really get down and wake up and find out, we look into it and said they're just copies of former ones. The names were changed to fit the culture. You add a A to Brahmin, India, you get Abraham. You take off the Saraswati, and you take away the Swate, you get Sarah in Abrahamic, which Saraswati and Brahmin are the aspects of feminine and masculine energy. Where? In India, which is way before the Abrahamic. So where did it come from? It came from there. And this is how it's always. There's always, these cultures had many gods. They have the, we talk about here how Yahweh is what? Yahweh is the demiurge. Well, when you go find out Yahweh's from Samaria, and he was just a desert. He's a desert god, destructive desert god. That's why he was in the desert in the fire, because there's no water around. When the story of Moses finds Yahweh, he's in the desert and he's a burning bush. Why? It's the fire god, because Yahweh's a weather fire god from Samaria, Babylon, or was it Babylon? And he came, and the reason there's fire and he's in a burning bush is because there's no feminine aspect of water there. He lacks the water because he's a destroyer. He's a destroyer, imbalanced destroyer. That's why he was in the desert and turned into a burning bush. It wouldn't go away because there's no water to burn to balance him out or turn off the fire. So all these gods that we see, that's why that we Yahweh, I'm a jealous God. Besides there's me, there's no other. If you were the only one, you wouldn't have a problem with your Yahweh, with your aspect of what? You sound like somebody who lacks confidence. Beside me, there's no other. Like you're scared. Like you have no confidence because you know there's others because every culture had them. And many of them were passed down and given different names. Remember, 7 broke down Marduk and said Jesus is connected to Marduk. And I'm like, it makes sense. And what a Marduk in the picture is, he's being sacrificed for you. Same thing. That even goes into that. We haven't even did Zoroastrianism. When you find out what Zoroaster is, their Persian religion, you're going to say, oh, this is Christianity. Before Christianity, it was. Yes. And even before Gnosticism, Zoroasterism. So yeah, there's just a lot to learn that's copied and pasted. That's why personally, all y'all, I'm connected to my higher self, into the aspects of that, into my higher self, oversoul, and the monad. I don't worship outside entities. I don't worship anything. Why? Because I'm not a worship. Because if you have worship, that means you're giving away your energy to something that wants to take it. But if that God was truly self-sufficient, he can. Why does he want yours? Why does he have low self-esteem? That's why he needs to be praised, which is really raised, because he can't raise himself. He needs you to give him the juice. Think about that. Ooh. And why is every God we mentioned he? There's that 2 aspects, and that creates everything in the Hermeticism and the Hermetic laws is gender. Yeah, gender's in the Hermetic laws. Feminine and masculine and everywhere in the universe. Not no recently stuff we've seen. Pushed an ideology, definitely. Yeah. You guys have a great day. Remember, look up Brother Shipton. I'm going to deeper. I want to know more about our prophecies of stuff in the end times and stuff like that. But you guys have a great day.